So if you run a business, and especially a startup, or this would also be true if you were a musician or an artist or a painter or whoever, I wanted to talk about moonshots. So for instance, I'll talk about me as an example. So I run a business course. We are here to help make business education accessible to 5 billion people. We have free plans where you can learn completely for free. There's no ads, there's no catches, whatever. But we also help train corporates and businesses and individuals for a relatively small fee for what you get. But essentially, our lowest price is about £300, or most is about 600, and we have different packages in the middle. But the one of the things that I wanted to talk about is that on a base level, we could target one-off sales that, as a business owner, I could approach people and actually ask them, would you be interested in buying a course? And that would be traditional sales to run a traditional small business, to earn income, to kind of make it work. But one of the things that's interesting about what I do is that the business education market is one of the most competitive markets in the world. You have literally billion-dollar companies spending hundreds of millions on advertising, SEO, everything else. So I know that I can't compete on that level. So one of the things that I've been spending a lot of time on is looking at partnerships and conversations and things that I could do which basically will help me get a 100x return on the conversation to get me to a sustainable level where I can compete, rather than looking at one-off sales. Does that make sense? So it's almost where a 1x action. So for instance, with my time is largely limited. So it's Friday and it's 9:24. I could spend the next 8 hours on the phone or email or direct message to individual people to say, hi, my name's Steve. I run a startup called Roadmap MBA. Would you like to buy one of our courses? We're here to help empower communities grow, learn and develop. But the issue is, if I approach one person who could realistically buy one course, 5 courses, okay, that might actually drive a small amount of revenue and you're helping to support 1 or 2 people. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, and that's important to do. But the irony is, to make a startup sustainable, if you've ever actually read the book 0 to 1 by a guy called Peter Thiel is a really famous startup kind of guru. But essentially what he talks about is that you want to aim for the absolute moonshot highest thing that you can, because chances are with startups, 99% fail, and probably less than 1% ever actually make it to the billion-dollar unicorn, sustainable, profitable business that gets there. And the point is, if you, I say, half-arse your approach, almost if within your approach you always play it safe and go for the small options, the small wins, it's actually very difficult to make it and actually survive. So actually, if you go and aim for the 100x opportunities, for that same conversation, if within the next 8 hours you could realistically have 15 conversations with different people, there's a good chance that you could have 15 conversations and maybe 3, 5 might buy a product, which actually could maybe bring in, I don't know, £1,000 worth of revenue. But the issue is, a one-off £1,000 won't necessarily help you build a world-class startup if you have ambitions to be here. As actually, if you can have 15 conversations, but if one of them lands, but that could be, for instance, one of our strategies is that we know that we can't outcompete any of the other big, well-established business education providers with $1 billion in revenue, because we don't have the cash they do, we don't have the reach they do, etc. So rather than trying to play their game, the way that this has been set up and the way that we're able to offer a very high quality but free business course is because essentially we have very low overheads, and it's how we've kind of built it. But there's a huge community goal and benefit where essentially if you're an organization that has community goals in mind, so you could be, for instance, Google will spend millions of pounds every year on community projects to help different people from different backgrounds. They have something called Google Digital Garage, which is about digital skills. But the idea is Google has, well, everyone on the internet, but they have a reach of hundreds of millions of people. that if you can find a partnership where Roadmap could partner with Google or Facebook or Microsoft or Bloomberg or Duolingo or whoever, the potential that could be 10,000x what we could ever do on our own. So almost my goal as the startup founder is, rather than chase these small opportunities, which yes, it's nice if you get a small amount of income, but it won't necessarily help us get to where we need to be. So actually my focus isn't actually on selling courses to 10 people, because actually, although that's great for a small business, when you have ambitions to literally help 5 billion people, I need to find the 100x, the 1000x opportunities and actually have those conversations. Because actually, if we could partner with, say, Meta, so we've learned how to film our education in 360. So if you've got a headset, it can feel like you're in the room, actually sat in that chair. So that as we grow, learn and develop, the hope is that with Apple's new headset and where things might be in 5-10 years, a VR classroom environment could be a huge thing. But likewise, if you are a Meta or a Facebook and you've invested billions in your Meta Quest product, partnering with someone like Roadmap could actually be a free app for their platform, gives us some funding, but it's the reach to everyone on Facebook. Facebook has billions of people on the platform. That would be a 1000x opportunity that actually could change our fortunes with a single conversation, in a way that if you're a startup founder, if it's right for you, seek out the huge moonshot opportunities. It's the huge opportunities which can just revolutionize everything over and above single 1x interactions, sales, whichever, which actually they might help you in the short term, but it's all about finding the opportunities and getting the most impact, the most bang for your buck on your time. And that's something that we're really looking to do as well. The other flip side for us is that with the course, obviously we provide business education, but it is the community element of what we're looking to do. We're looking to help people around the world that otherwise don't have access to traditional business education or training. But that's why we're actually primed to work really well with charities. So I won't name them, but there's quite a few that we're talking to at the moment, where essentially charities could support 1 million people a year. And especially if it relates to entrepreneurship, personal development, youth development, education, entrepreneurship, careers, we can offer completely free support to the charity. But actually, if we can offer support to their community and they have 1 million people, the charity wins, because essentially it helps them with their aim and goal, that they get to support the people they want to support better. But for us, it's a way to get 1,000 users or 1 million users on the platform without actually, we could never do that organically with paid ads or whichever. It would just take forever. And essentially it's through partnerships like that. It's social good, but it's also a USP that we can do, which aligns with our mission and our purpose. That the point of the video is just to consider chasing moonshot opportunities that might never come off, but you only need to land one of these for every 1,000 conversations. Because actually you could have the same 1,000 conversations to individuals or people that can't buy the product or can only buy one of the product, but it never really gets you to there, and it all depends on what your aims, goals and ambitions are. It was just something that I wanted to mention because it's a key part of what we're doing as part of our strategy for the business. It might be interesting to you, it might not be relevant. It won't be relevant to every business. If you have a B2B product or service, essentially you probably won't have the opportunity for moonshots. You might do, but this again depends on what type of business you are.